Invite will. Now on me, get you killed. That's a metaphor for the skill. Ain't no metaphor for the real. Under influence of the pill. Majority of rappers on the bill. Bullshit raps I don't feel. Y'all the main course on the meal. Father was be up in the mills. Probably got a house up on the hills. Probably getting a lot of riches, a lot of whips, and I can barely manage how to pay the bills. But I still be up in the studio. And my son eating good, so nutritional. Wish I could follow suit, but I tell it to the crew. So I gotta eat these rappers, I just let them know. Everybody know me. 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 Everybody know me.
Yeah, what is going on, everybody? It is yours truly, the Ace, here with episode 11 of the series finale. Been a while since we've done one of these, but we are back, and we have ourselves a special panel today where we will be discussing the first half of the New York Yankees season. We're going to be recapping that along with the preview of the second half as well. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe. But like I said, I got a special day is on today. To my left, my guy Delulu, Yankee fan, is in the building. What's good, brother?
Los Yankees de Nueva York. We good, Brody?
That's right. Hey, had to set it off with that, man. Like I said, I don't have the sound effect, so I appreciate you putting it on there. Jason Custodio, what's good, brother?
Chillin', man. I don't have a special intro like Delulu does.
That's a hard act to follow right there.
Definitely.
And we got Jason from 161 is in the house. What's good, brother?
What's going on, everybody? What's up? Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the gentlemen on the panel. Let's rock and roll, baby.
Appreciate you guys. And of course, the man himself, that if you're not subscribed to him, you guys might want to question some of your life choices. NFE is in the building. What's good, brother?
Yo, what up, man? What's up, everybody? What's going on? Happy Wednesday.
Let's go.
That's right. Happy Wednesday. We are at the midpoint of the New York Yankees season. I hope you guys have enjoyed the break. We're going to be talking all about it. There are some players that needed the break more than others, so we will be discussing all that. But the New York Yankees season, going into the 2025 season, coming off a World Series, a lot of us had high expectations. You know, we know the story. We missed out on Soto, but the Yankees' plan B was pretty damn good, bringing the pieces that we have in. But we also dealt with some big injuries along the way. Garrett Cole went down, Giancarlo Stanton, Clark Schmidt, and Luis Hill also went down as well. So the Yankees did go in to this season. I had high expectations going in, and of course, as always, we got off to a great start. Not surprised there, but like clockwork, got to hit that June swoon with Boone, as the Yankees before that swoon were 7.5 games up. We were the highest team as far as division lead out of everybody. But now we're kind of sitting in second place, and we're going to talk all about it. We're going to start with my guy, Delulu, man. What was your biggest take of the first half of the 2025 season?
Different year, kind of the same Yankees. Start off hot, get into the June swoon, like you said. I mean, listen, it's rinse and repeat, but kind of better. I mean, I'll be honest with you, like, hindsight 2020 now, midway through the year, I'm not a prisoner of the moment, you know, like, I'm happy with where we're at. Every team is going to struggle at some point in the year. It just so happens to be that the Yankees are always struggling in June going into July. So again, I'm cool with that as long as it doesn't roll over into August and September when it matters. My only big concern in the first half is our record against the AL, because again, if there's any games that matters, is the games against the AL, our AL East opponents. So again, I don't want to say that I'm worried or anything like that. I take everything with a grain of salt. Again, in game, holding on to every pitch, and the reactions are what they are. But hindsight 2020, I think we're in a really good spot, and you know, let's see what happens this trade deadline. But I feel really good. I'm still optimistic, as optimistic as we went into the season. Again, you want to see more from guys like Volpe. Obviously, I know we're gonna definitely talk about him at some point today, but I feel like I expected a lot from him, and I'm still not getting what I expected. Hopefully that turns around in the second half. But, again, I feel good about our Yankees right now. And this isn't me being delusional, not yet. The delusional hat is right there. I haven't put it on yet, but let's see what happens. I genuinely think we're in a good spot, but the Red Sox are creeping up, and it's a tough division, man. We gotta lock in.
Yeah, dude, you made some great points with the division too, man. Because like I believe we have. Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't we have the worst record out of everybody in the AL against the division?
Yes.
Because they have been kicking the shit out of us. And then that 4-game sweep versus the Blue Jays couldn't have helped either. So, yeah, it's tough. Before we get to the next person, Sarah, thank you for popping in, for being a member for 7 months. Says, Ace, you're amazing. Go Yankees. Appreciate that. And she did gift away a membership. Can't see on here who it went to. But appreciate you, Sarah. Jason from 161. What was your first takeaway of this first half of the 2025 season?
One of the first things that I wondered was whether this Yankees team was going to perform with a longer lineup versus a lineup with 2 superstars like they had last year. So it's a different type of lineup. It's longer, it's deeper, it's more versatile, and I was curious to see how they were going to do it. And so far, I agree. I mean, I like where they're at. They're in a good spot. Are there things that they feel like they need to improve in? Yes. I mean, they've been bludgeoned by injuries. They've got a lot of guys on the IL, so that's obviously affecting their performance. But I do think they're in a good spot. I think they're well positioned to strike at the trade deadline too. So I feel good about it. And again, that was the one observation that I was going to continue to make. Like without Soto, they have 1 superstar instead of 2, right? So they added players, but were they going to perform the same way without that second heavy hitter at the top? And so far, so good.
Yeah, definitely. This season was just a good, crazy one because, like I said, it got off to such a hot start, and it's one thing to feel optimistic, especially you coming off a World Series. That's kind of the bar now. You kind of want to get back to that point. And the Yankees got off to a smoldering hot lead, and like we were doing, we were beating up on teams. But then all of a sudden, like the June swoon happens, and it just like clockwork. This team just seems to plummet. And me personally, like I said, a little bit of a feel-good moment towards the end of the season before the break because we did get ourselves a nice little 5-game winning streak. But in my opinion, don't let that distract you from the fact that we still lost 3 out of the last 4 to end the first half. So that's very concerning for me. Other Jason, from Jason Custodio, what are your takeaways from the first half of this season so far?
I mean, considering where we're at right now, it's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, we're only 2 games behind the Blue Jays. Obviously, I feel like we should have been in first, right? But we still got a lot of baseball to play. Going into the season, we knew that we had concerns, right? We had holes. Obviously, third base. We took a major hit when Cole went down, the rotation and everything. So we did have a lot of players that stepped up and played well above their expectations. Now that they're kind of reverting back to the mean, we're kind of getting what should have probably been early in the year. So I really can't complain. Are there issues that need to be addressed? Obviously, right? That's kind of obvious at this point. But we're only 2 games out, right? Yeah, I got it. The Red Sox are hot and everything, but can they maintain that pace? That's yet to be seen. The Yankees are in a good place. I think we're maybe a move or 2 away from really, really pushing us over the hump and making a legitimate postseason run. I'm trying to be optimistic, right? That's how I see it anyway.
Yeah, I feel you. NFE, what about you, man? Biggest takeaway from the first half of the season?
I mean, I think the biggest takeaway really was just proving a lot of the fan base wrong. I think going into this season, a lot of people just had negative thoughts, especially after not signing Juan Soto. Everybody just went into a negative mindset that this team was going to be a 3rd or 4th place team, that this team was going to absolutely suck. But I think they've overcome a lot of expectations. I think they've overcome some adversity. And it's not just, the June swoon that you were talking about, Ace. It's also the month of April. April sucked for the Yankees too. April was a terrible month, but they had a great bounce back in May. And, that schedule in May wasn't really any easier, but they had a lot of success. Yeah, June sucked. June wasn't great. They did go on a little bit of a collapse. The injuries are not helping. But even with how well they have played and or especially as of late, how well they haven't played. I mean, it's still obvious that this team has holes, especially with their pitching. That was probably my biggest concern going into this season was really their bullpen. But their bullpen was able to hold up, but still, it was obvious that some moves needed to happen. But yes, they are 2 games behind. I'm not going to count these guys out whatsoever. Because they're 2 games behind. I know there's fans out there that are saying that they should sell at the deadline, which I think would be an absolute waste. Because it was just a question like I asked, Jason from 161. It's like, okay, why make the offseason moves that they made to just sell at the deadline and just completely give up? It's just kind of a waste. And why even make the moves or make that pivot after not signing Soto and then going to Plan B? I don't know where these takes are coming from. I mean, I've even seen something crazy as the team should try and trade Aaron Judge while his value is high. I'm like, what? What are we doing here? But no, but getting back, I think this team is in a good spot, even with 2 games behind. I think if they make the right moves at the deadline, this team they're contenders, and I think they'll be a lot better once they make the right moves at the deadline.
Yeah. Imagine selling when you have that first wild card spot. I don't understand why fans just want to jump ship. Like, if we can't be in first place, fuck it, throw it all away. Like, right. You're still the number 1 team in the wild card spot. You're 2 games behind. I don't think the Blue Jays will be able to hold this momentum. They've been playing well, and Boston's like right on our ass as well. But this Yankee team, like the adversity that we did have to overcome, losing Garrett Cole immediately, which, kudos to the Yankee organization for even pivoting to Max Fried, because who knows where this team would be without Max Fried, and who knows where this team would be without the contributions of All-Star Carlos Rodon, who did look pretty damn good in the All-Star game as well. He's had a great year. Other guys have stepped up. Like, we got some good contributions from guys like Ryan Yarbrough, who's currently on the IO as well. Other guys have had to step up. We know Stroman dealt with his injuries as well. This Yankee team has had to overcome adversity, but like the last month and a half is frustrating, but it's no need to panic and really need to jump ship, because we are right in the thick of things. We are a move or 2 away, even though, like, I feel like personally we got to make about 4 moves, in my opinion, and a lot of them is in the bullpen, and we got to get ourselves a third baseman as well. But yeah, this team does feel incomplete. What were some of the concerns that you guys had coming into this season, and is it still a concern within the first half? Jason Custodio, we'll start with you.
I mean, the obvious one is third base, right? We knew going into the season we had to figure out this third base situation. Oswaldo Cabrera, he was a good fill-in for a while. Unfortunately, he got hurt, but even him, realistically, that's really not the option we wanted to have, right? We didn't want him. At some point, we were gonna have to address this issue. That's one of them. And then the rotation, obviously, that's the biggest thing, because we didn't know Rodon was gonna pitch as well as he pitched. Because the first 2 seasons, he's worn the pinstripes, have been, kind of rocky to say the least, right? But we had some major contributions, some people stepping up, like Ryan Yarbrough. Will Warren, granted, he's had some rocky starts, but he stepped up a lot in a lot of starts. So we've had some guys, especially throughout the lineup. When you think about Jason Dominguez, what he's doing, Cody Bellinger, obviously he's lived up to the hype. Ben Rice, who thought that Ben Rice would be as hot as he was for a good stretch of the season so far, or Trent Grisham, guys like that, but with all that being said, there's still things that need to be addressed, and I'm hoping that the Cashman and them, obviously we can't fill every hole, and we're not going to get all the sexiest names, and I don't think we really need to. We really, in all reality, we don't. If we could get a third baseman who can give us some better offensive production than what we're getting right now from Peraza, maybe 1 or 2 bullpen arms. They don't have to be the top guys. Everybody wants the what's his name, Joan Durans and the Mason Millers of the world, but I don't even think we need all that. I think the Yankees are in better shape than a lot of us fans really think they are, or give them credit for.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to ask you something.
What's up?
What's that behind you, man? Is that a light or something on fire? Because,
Oh man, it's probably something on fire, but it would be all right. Not this flame. No, it's
nah.
a candle.
I had to ask you because I wanted to warn you, you know what I mean? Just in case something was going on. I was like, that shit looks a little bit too to be a light.
When
but
the
yeah,
smoke is fire, right?
yeah, right. NFE, what were your concerns going into the season? Do you feel like there's still a concern for you?
Pitching. It's just been pitching. That was my biggest concern. I was more concerned about the pitching than I was about third base. I'm not saying third base wasn't a concern, but pitching was a bigger concern for me. And here we are, July 16th, and it's still a concern. So, because losing Garrett Cole for the season, Luis Hill has been, he's been injured for most of the season. Hopefully, he's back here in a couple of weeks or so. I know he's doing his rehab starts. Clark Schmidt just went down, right? There was a bit of a concern with the rotation in the beginning, right? Because Warren was struggling. They had freaking Carlos Carrasco in there. That guy was a bit of a disaster. So thank God they took him out. They made some adjustments. The rotation started to look a little bit better. I got to give, I'll give Will Warren some credit too. He's been stepping up, but yeah, he's been getting rocked here and there, but that's to be expected with a rookie pitcher. As I always say, manage your expectations when it comes to rookies, right? So, they're going to trip, they're going to fall. That's how they learn. But, the rotation for the most part, right, they've been able to hold their own. But, really it was the bullpen for me. The bullpen was like the big concern because they had guys that were hurt, and you were hoping some of these guys were going to be back. Like Jake Cousins, I was looking forward to him coming back. But unfortunately, he, had to get Tommy John surgery. So, they did get some guys back, and they've been, pitching out of the bullpen. But those guys are, in my opinion, are not exactly the most reliable. So, really, I mean, the pitching is still the biggest concern for me at the start of the season, and here we are now in July. That's still the biggest concern for me is pitching.
Yeah. What about you, Delulu?
I mean, I think the guys have kind of hit the big stuff, so I'll be a little more out the box and say kind of the front office a little bit. And when I say that, I mean more or less, are they going to continue to dick around and play around with another prime Judge here? I mean, look at what Judge is doing in this first half already. Coming into the season, after coming off a World Series and not focusing on that third base situation and all the issues that it caused us, it made me cringe going into the season. And again, that was masked by a really hot start. But I still see it on a daily basis where we can't do the very simple fundamental things. And a lot of that had to do with plugging and playing players out of positions, like Jazz Chisholm having to force himself being at third base. I wasn't a fan of that. But I will say that those concerns of the front office kind of were, I don't want to say put to rest just yet, but the release of DJ LeMahieu kind of showed me a lot, because I'm so used to the Yankees holding on to these players even when they know they're well past what they can contribute to us, especially players that have been paid. Like, I think about guys like Aaron Hicks most recently and Josh Donaldson. Granted, Aaron Hicks, I still think injuries and all that stuff kind of derailed him and stuff like that. But the reality of the matter is we were playing him when we probably shouldn't have. There were better options then. And then same thing with DJ. So, again, this trade deadline, honestly, is kind of a big deal for me as a fan, because I feel like I've been through this consistently enough now where you're telling me everything I want to hear, but now it's a matter of, are you going to act on it? And acting on the release of DJ LeMahieu and kind of opening up that spot to find that solution, to me, is a step in the right direction. But now it's like, is the job done yet? TBD, let's see. I got to see a little bit of Eugenio Suarez in the All-Star game yesterday. I'm not out here watching Diamondback games, but I like what I saw on defense. I just feel like there's just so much smoke around him coming to the Yankees now that I almost feel like it's not going to happen. We'll probably end up with a Cabrian Hayes, and I'm not mad at that. That guy probably needs a change of scenery. The Yankee bloodline is in him. He's Charlie Hayes' son, and then he leads the league in defensive WAR. Who doesn't want that? Like, I'll take a low average defensive first guy batting in the bottom of the order over a plug and play guy who's constantly making mistakes and playing out of position. But again, concerns were the front office, but so far the front office is kind of showing me some things, and they're saying the right things at this point in the season.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off that, man. Like, for real, like, you hit a lot of good points. It seems like year after year we're going in with the same formula, like playing guys out of position. You're doing things at the detriment of other things. Later in the year, playing DJ LeMahieu at second at the detriment of Jazz. Playing Jason Dominguez, playing at the detriment of Jason Dominguez. You're playing Trent Grisham a lot. And granted, Trent Grisham got off to a good start, no doubt. And so did Ben Rice. But then, like, the development of Dominguez should be part B, plan B for the Yankees. A is win, but at the same time, too, develop Dominguez by any means necessary, because you have to kind of figure out what's going on with this kid. But, before I get to Jason for 161, I think I would say my biggest concern going in this year was probably the left side of the infield. Like, I wanted to see what path Volpe was going to take this year. Like, going into year 3, showed us some things in the World Series. Would he be able to live up to it? So far, he hasn't. We seem to have a third base problem that we haven't been able to solve since A-Rod. And there were guys out there, like, I was all for Alex Bregman. You know what I'm saying? We know he wasn't going to get it. We don't know that Alex Bregman would have got hurt here, like he got hurt there. We don't know. It's not, that's in the multiverse. We don't know. But it's just like one of those things where I wanted a third baseman by any means necessary. That was the final cherry on top of the cake. I feel like that would have been a complete Yankee like perfect offseason. But instead, once again, they go into a hole at third base, and then it's at the detriment of Jazz Chisholm. Then you're putting Jazz at third for a couple of months. The shoulder injury is happening because that long throw. And it's just like, you're not, playing guys out of position is just something the Yankees have always done. We've seen it since, another one, IKF was another one. It's Gold Glove third baseman. Let's put him in the outfield. It's just sometimes the things they do doesn't make sense. So that front office point was a great one. That was one of my concerns as well. Jason for 161, what was your biggest concern going into the season?
My biggest concern was, how are they going to replace Soto? Were they going to replace him with the best names or the right fits? Right? Because Willie Adames would not have been the right fit. Right? I like him. He's a good player. But he's clearly not performing up to his contract right now. Alex Bregman, at his price, would have prevented him from making other moves. So, at that price, too. I like him, too. But historically, he bats about 400 at Fenway Park. Bats under 200 Yankee Stadium. So, that has to be considered, too. I like the fact that he brought in Goldschmidt instead of Christian Walker. I like Christian Walker, but Goldschmidt's playing better than Christian Walker on a lesser deal, right? Cody Bellinger, he's coming into his own, which is great, and he got Max Fried. So he pivoted, and he got any trade for Fernando Cruz. So he's made some quality moves, and I think these guys turned out to be the right fits for this team right now. I don't know what big names he could have brought in place of Juan Soto that would have been better fits for this team. And that's always been one of my concerns. Are the big names going to be the right fits? Not always. So that was probably my biggest concern. So far, I like the moves that he's made, but he still has to make more. I think third base has to be addressed at the deadline since it wasn't addressed in free agency, right? And there's one guy that moves the needle more than anybody else with the bat, and that's Suarez. Brian Hayes moves the needle with the glove more than anybody else. So, and he's already going to be probably the immediate fallback if Suarez doesn't happen. I'm sure we'll get into that discussion too. So, those are my main concerns with the right fits. And he added bullpen, he added pitching, he added position players, one outfield and one infield. So he kind of had a spread out plan of attack across the board. So I like what he did so far, but he still has work to do.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about the deadline stuff as that approaches. All right, so let's go ahead and, since we're still talking about the first half of the season, standout performance. Who is your standout player in the first half? Delulu, we'll start with you.
Man, I gotta say Grisham. I did not expect that at all in the beginning. Yeah, I'll go with Grisham just off of that hot start. I thought he was gonna be a glove first placement in the outfield and in the lineup, and with the possibility of maybe getting somebody at the deadline. I don't know, but what I do know is I did not expect Grisham to get off to the hot start that he got off, and I want to give him flowers for that. Granted, he kind of makes me want to pull my hair out with his too cool for school approach on defense sometimes.
His nonchalantness, Robbie Cano out there.
Except Robbie Cano made the plays, every single time. But no, yeah, I mean, I'll give it to Grisham. I mean, he's cooled down a ton, but I'm rocking with him. I still think he might have a little something in the tank in the second half. I know if anybody needed that All-Star break, it was probably him. But shout out to Grisham.
Yeah. So you going forward and continue playing Grisham throughout the second half?
Absolutely not, bro. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'll listen. What Jason Dominguez is doing, and the only reason why I didn't go with him initially is because I don't want to be biased. But listen, man, it's clear as day. He passes the eye test for me. But that's second half stuff. We'll get to that later. Grisham for me for now. Just because I liked him in the first half doesn't mean I think we should move forward with him in the second half. But that was very unexpected.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I said it all the time. Grisham was like finding $20 on the floor for real. You know it's good. You know you're going to eat good. But you know that shit's not going to pay any bills. It's not going to last too long. But you got to just take it as you can. And Ben Rice was in that same conversation as guys that kind of stepped up. Then the team kind of started falling apart a little bit as those guys started to cool down because other guys weren't able to step up. Jason Custodio, what about you, man? Standout player in the first half?
I'm going to have to go with Cody Bellinger, man. Even though he's a vet and we all know what he brings, man, but I think he's even better than I thought. And I gave him a lot of criticism because obviously he got to a slow start in April. But just to see somebody play the game right, the way it's meant to be played, he's a ball player. Like, if I had to tell my son to watch a certain player, like, hey, mimic whatever he's doing, it'd probably be Cody Bellinger. He does everything right. He plays multiple positions at a high level. You could throw him at left field. You could throw him at center field. You could throw him at first base. Oftentimes you see him on the side. I don't know if you guys pay attention to when they pan into the dugout. He's talking to guys like Dominguez or something like that. He's just a breath of fresh air. It's something that this team hasn't had in quite a while. Like somebody who plays the game right. And look, you know how we say a lot of things about these guys can't bunt. I bet you if there's one person that could bunt, even though I haven't seen him try to lay one down yet, it's probably Cody Bellinger. I promise you, if you ask him to bunt, he'll lay one down. He's just a good baseball player overall, So I like Cody Bellinger.
Yeah. How much do you guys think, because he was talking about the slow start, how much of that slow start do you equate to that back injury? Because if you think about it, he got off to a really hot start in spring, and then all of a sudden, like, he got injured and he just wasn't the same. How much of that do you guys equate to that?
Yeah, like 50-50.
The back injury? I don't know. You had when they were playing the Tigers, they had something about he got a food poisoning. Who knows what it really was, but he's been rocking and rolling ever since. He's batting 282 right now. I think he probably should have made the All-Star team, but that's another conversation.
That slow start definitely stopped him from going to the All-Star team. But yeah, he went off a couple games against the Cubs for us. 161. What about you? Biggest standout of the season?
I got a tie.
First half.
I got a tie. Fernando Cruz and Ryan Yarbrough. Ryan Yarbrough came out of nowhere, right? Reliever stepped up to the rotation and very admirably kept the Yankees in a lot of games, with the exception of one bad game. He kept these guys in and gave them length when they needed length. He gave them, kept them in the games when needed kept in the games. And Fernando Cruz, another guy who doesn't throw like Mason Miller, but he averages like almost 15 strikeouts per 9 innings. He strikes out the side almost every other inning he plays. So he's been one of the more reliable. And now he's hurt right now. He's got to come back, but he's been one of the more reliable relief pitchers for the Yankees. When guys like Luke Weaver were struggling, when guys like Devin Williams were struggling, he was one of the solid pieces, right? If it wasn't Tim Hill, it was Fernando Cruz. So I have him a tie between him and Ryan Yarbrough. I think those are my surprises.
Okay. And what about you?
Man, I mean, it'd be easy for me to say Max Fried because we were wondering how he was going to pitch, especially in Garrett Cole's absence. But you know what, man, I'm going to give it to Carlos Rodon. I'm going to give it to Carlos Rodon because there was so many people doubting him going into the season. I wasn't one of them. I don't know about you guys. Okay, Custodio was another one. Delulu says no. I don't know. I can't speak for Jason from 161 or Ace. Ace is saying no. Jason.
Yeah, Freed stepped up when Spencer Strider went down in Atlanta. So he stepped here when Cole went down. So kind of as expected for me. I'm not surprised with Max Fried.
Right.
I'm happy with his performance right now.
But for me, though, it was Carlos Rodon because there was so much doubt going about him going into the season. I was like, nah, watch this guy. He's gonna turn it around, and he did. He's having a better season. He's got 135 strikeouts, so he's up there in the leaderboards as far as strikeouts are concerned. So he's not giving up the long ball as much as he used to. He still does, but it's not as bad as it was, it's in 2024. So I think he has stepped up big time, and he's come into his own this season. I think 2023 was a fluke. The dude was hurt the whole time. 2024, he had his ups and downs. He had a lot of ups and downs. There was inconsistencies, but this season I think he has really come into his own with the Yankees. So my pick is Carlos Rodon.
Good pick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good pick. Rodon for me wasn't like a big concern because like I don't think he had a lot of pressure on him this year because he had some pressure on him, but before Cole went down, he was supposed to be like the third starter and then kind of got thrust into that one. So he has stepped up exponentially to NFE's point. Like who knows where we'd be without him and Max Fried. Like this team would be in some serious trouble. Shout out to LI Yankee King who's in the building. What's up, man? Came in here. We haven't even mentioned Giancarlo Stanton yet, so appreciate you for popping in. But for me, I'm gonna say this: my standout, and it's funny that no one's saying Aaron Judge because we just take that man for granted, because it's just the obvious answer. Go ahead, NFP. What you say?
I already know who your standout is. Ace,
Who?
but I want to see you say it. No, I'm gonna wait for you to say it.
No. Say
I
it
thought it
first
was.
before
I thought
say
it was. I thought it was Aaron Judge.
Nah, who you think?
Is Jason Dominguez?
Nah, not Jason Dominguez. I'm gonna go with Devin Williams. Realistically, after the start that Devin Williams got off to, and how Yankee fans were ready to drive his ass to the airport after that first week where playing against your former team, then I believe he caught food poisoning too. Did he not?
He went on maternity leave.
He went on maternity leave. That's what it was. And then it seemed like Rodon and Devin Williams seemed like they pitched in inclement weather like almost every single time, especially Carlos Rodon early, right? So I'm not making excuses for the boy. I'm really not. But the adversity that he had to overcome, because I said it, Yankee fans, there were three reasons why Yankee fans were done with Devin Williams. One was the most important. His performance obviously stunk. Two, the fact that everybody loves Luke Weaver. Luke Weaver coming off the playoff performance that he had, understandable. He's got that equity. And number three, it's because motherfuckers are traumatized over Clay Holmes. That's exactly why Devin Williams did not get an opportunity. But kudos to Aaron Boone by putting him in good spots. I never lost faith in him because I just never thought this guy just forgot how to be one of the best closers in the league. No doubt. Whether you like him, love him because he quote unquote helped change the beer policy, that's on you. Me personally, I always thought that he could deliver. And when Luke Weaver went down, he stepped up exponentially. And he has been one of our best players. And personally, I'd extend him. I really would. Now, I understand. I hear the Class A's being thrown out there and, who you don't know who you're going to give a contract to. But realistically, I'd bring back Devin Williams.
He took his lumps. He took them in stride. And he rebounded nice, man.
Yeah, and I mean, to add to Ace's point, too, it's he went, he started off slow. He was struggling, but he knew what he was up. He knows what he's up against this season because this is his contract year. So he wants to get paid. So he had no choice but to step up. So he knows what his role is. He knows what his job is. So it's not like he was going out there trying to choke up on these games or whatever. So he's turning it around. He's looking solid now. I like what I'm seeing from him. But I think he knew the assignment though. So, again, he's in a contract year, and he wants to get paid, and teams are looking at him. There's going to be a lot of teams looking at him. So, shout out to Devin Williams.
I never worried about Devin Williams. I like my closers to blow games in April, just not in September and October. So again, literally never a doubt. Like you said, Ace, the best closer, one of the best closers in baseball, just doesn't forget how to pitch. So that was my thought process the whole time.
You know, it's my whole thing with Devin Williams. If you notice, even when he was blowing games, right, it was just a lack of control and just kind of lucky hits. He's never really gave up any big home runs or anything like that. If you really think about it, it's just been, some bloop single that found a hole here, a walk here and there. Granted, yeah, he blew games, but it's not like he was giving up 3-run bombs, or anything like that. So I always knew that it's something there. If he gets a little bit of luck on his side and controls his fastball a little bit more and his changeup, then he'll be on. And he's pitched good, especially when Weaver went down. We really needed him to kind of find it, and he did. So kudos to him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that soft contact stuff could be said the same for Clay Holmes last year. How many times did we see Clay Holmes blow games like Volpe made an error to tie the game, and Verdugo tripped in the outfield? Like, and that goes hand in hand with being fundamentally sound. Like, that's something that the Yankees got exposed for last season. The Dodgers straight up told us, we knew that if we put the ball in play, the Yankees were going to fuck it up. It's as simple as that. And for the most part, with moves that have been made, like I think Bellinger definitely made this team a little more fundamentally sound. But still, the playing guys out of position is like the thing that bothers me, because realistically, like even with Dominguez in left field, he hasn't been bad in left field. But if it, in my brain, it just computes that if Bellinger, who made a great play in left field a couple weeks ago, if he can play left, why not go with him in left field, Dominguez where he's most comfortable at, Jazz up the middle, and then you ultimately just you get yourself a third baseman already. Like somebody had mentioned Key Brian Hayes. I'm okay with that. Like I don't think, and we will talk about what we want versus what we think will happen in the second half, but I don't think the Yankees need that big move to be made. Like a move like Key Brian Hayes would be great. But ultimately, like this team does have to lock it up a little more fundamentally. And I'm looking at guys like, we're going to talk about this, go to the next segment, biggest disappointment. I'm looking at guys for me, Anthony Volpe. I know he's a guy that a lot of people are going to beat up on, that type of stuff. I know, you guys might have the same take, but Anthony Volpe's been my biggest disappointment this year because I have been a Volpe guy on top of that. I've seen that this kid has the talent. My eyes don't lie. Like I'm looking at it, I'm like, he's got the talent. I just don't know what it is. Like, and this year, if you're not hitting offensively, at least you could play good defense, but he's not even doing that this year. So it's like, what does this kid need to be done? Do you need George Lombard Jr. to light that fire under your ass like you had when you were competing with Peraza? Do you need that steel sharpened steel type thing? But he's just been a major disappointment for me this year, and I do want to know who you guys' big disappointment is. Jason from 161, we'll start with you.
I echo your sentiment. It's Anthony Volpe too, but my disappointment is not because of lack of effort. It's I think he hasn't improved in areas that I was hoping he was going to improve in, like stolen bases. Like hitting just all spraying the ball for more singles than doubles. There's a reason why I like Brendan Donovan so much, because he's the kind of the model of the player that I'm hoping that Anthony Volpe would eventually become. Right, guys spraying the ball over the field, running the base hard. Right, just putting the ball in play on a regular basis. Right, you see Brendan Donovan last night in the All-Star game. He was 2 for 3. He was just a pest the whole game, and that's the type of player that I'm hoping Anthony Volpe eventually becomes. I do think he has the talent, and I do think we have to surround him with good defense on either side of the infield when he's struggling like this. So, but for those reasons, I would happily trade more home runs for a lot more singles and doubles and a lot more stolen bases and just good defense any day of the week. I'll take 5 home runs for him for 40 steals, right, and a 280 batting average. The one thing about Brendan Donovan too, he's leading the NL in batting average. I don't know if you guys know that. There's not a single player in the National League that bats over 300 right now. Not one. He's leading the National League with 295. So,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. And American League, I think, has like 6 or 7 guys over 300, which Judge leading in almost 360. So, but if you can get a 270 or 280 out of Anthony Volpe, with just a balanced attack offensively, I'll take that any day of the week over 30 of the month.
Yeah. Do you think the fact that we haven't had a legit third baseman and then Jazz was over there with the inexperience, do you think that ultimately takes a toll on Volpe as well? Because now he is forced to cover more. And we've seen multiple times this year that same play that we saw on the top of the fifth where you make a great play. The range is no problem. The arm has always been questionable. And this year we're seeing the decision-making a little more questionable as well, because we've seen at least 2 or 3 times him get the ball in the hole, and instead of putting it in your back pocket, you try to make a play and you throw it away. Then the arrogance is there when they're asking you afterwards. I kind of like the moxie of it, where I feel like I can make the play, but sometimes you got to be smarter. So do you feel like the lack of third baseman is kind of taking a toll on Volpe's defense?
Partly, I think you hit the nail on the head. You're right in the bullseye, because one of the things about infield is his reaction time. These guys hit the ball, let's say Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge. These guys hit the ball 115 miles an hour in infield. So you have to be that quick with a reaction time and know whether to throw it here, whether to throw it there, whether to step back, whether to come in. And you basically have that much, time to make those types of decisions. And more often than not this year, he hasn't been making those decisions as well as yet. So I do think Jazz is better suited at second, and a better third baseman would help in that process, because he'd have somebody more capable of catch the ball if he throws it this way and on both sides of the infield. So I do think that's part of it, him having to do a little bit more than he's probably used to doing. And he's still a developing player. He's not Derek Jeter with 20 years of experience. He's still in his 3rd year. He still has a lot to learn. So, and I am confident that he can, improve. And I don't really see the Yankees drafting 5 shortstops 2 days ago as a sign that he's on his way out, right? Because those guys can move to other positions, right? I think Roderick Arias is probably on his way out before for Anthony Volpe, right? And even Manny Cedeno, the number 13 prospect, was another shortstop. I think those guys are going to be trade bait now. But I do think George Lombard is probably going to be lighting a fire under his butt sooner than later. So, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing to have. Hopefully they'll motivate him to improve in areas where we need him to improve.
Yeah. And not to mention, with the guys we draft, they're not going to have any impact on Volpe. Like, he'll be either long-term extended or gone by the time these guys even sniff the major league level. They don't just come up like the next year. It's not going to. George Lombard Jr. would definitely be putting pressure on him, no doubt, because I could see Lombard Jr. possibly coming up as early as next year, like September call-ups, if he continues to ball out. But we'll see what happens. NFE, what about you? Who was your biggest disappointment this year in the first half?
I mean, it's Volpe, man. It's just hard to not say Volpe. It's just, we're in year 3, and to me it was just like, okay, we're in year 3, and to me it was a make or break for Anthony Volpe. And it's not. I don't dislike the guy. I don't dislike Volpe. I want him to play well. I want him to succeed. But I think he's his own worst enemy. I think he gets in his own head too much. I think mentally he's making the mistakes that he shouldn't be making. So really, I think he's beating himself, because RLC does make the plays, but sometimes the decisions that he makes are not the greatest. And his plate appearances, I mean, we see it. We see his plate appearances. They're not great. Right now, his batting average is sitting at about 215. And I think he just needs to he needs to have better plate appearances, because it just seems like every time he comes up, you always see it in the chats. I'm sure in your chats, Derace, this guy's going to be an automatic out. He's an automatic out, or he's going to ground into a double play.
Why does he always come up with 2 outs too? The baseball, every time, dude. You and I call the play-by-play every day. Like, he comes up with 2 outs, and I'm just like, this inning's about to be over.
Yeah, and it's just like, as soon as Volpe comes to the plate, it's just like, all right, well, there goes the inning. So the confidence on this guy is so low. What do the Yankees do with him in the future? I don't know, but there's not anybody to replace him right now either. Who do you replace him with? There's nobody right now. So that's the biggest thing. Everybody's just like, bring up Lombard. Well, okay, what makes you think Lombard is just going to come out firing on all cylinders? Like, this is, again, managing the expectations. But yeah, for me, man, it's Volpe, unfortunately, and I wish it wasn't Volpe. I wish it was somebody else, but it's been him. And I hope he improves in the second half. I really do. I want this guy to turn it around, do a 180, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Yeah, Yankee fans, I mean, to your point, Yankee fans want him gone without, like, and I hear Jason from Once This One say this all the time on your live streams, man. You're great after the games, where you're like, everybody wants Volpe gone, but tell me who's going to come up and replace him. Tell me. Like, no one gives a good answer. People are like, George Lombard Jr., he's not ready. People are like, Peraza, he can't hit. Vivas, he's not ready. Like, if someone gave me a viable solution, they say trade him. For who? Trade him for who? Who are we going to bring in? Who do you think is going to give the Yankees a favor? And they're like, yeah, okay, you know what? We'll give you this guy because Anthony Volpe's struggling. We love the Yankees so much. We're going to help you guys out. Go ahead.
I was going to say you could go Jesus Rodriguez. I mean, that's another name that people are throwing out there too, but I'm obviously joking. So, sorry.
Yeah.
Resist.
No, I mean, Jason Custodio, what about you?
I mean, I don't want to keep saying the same person to everybody, but I think it has to be Volpe. It has to be Volpe. I would say Austin Wells, but at least Austin Wells still playing pretty well behind the plate, in my opinion. But Anthony Volpe, man, the one thing that was his saving grace is that his defense was solid. And once that started diminishing, I mean, it kind of, he really doesn't have anything else to stand on. I mean, the thing with Volpe, in my opinion, especially with defensively, right? He never had a great arm, so he's always gonna have to be a little quicker than a guy like I don't know, you name anybody like Ellie De La Cruz, obviously, who could throw 102 across the diamond. So he could take a little bit more time. Volpe doesn't have that luxury, so he has to be kind of on point. He cannot afford to have a misstep or anything like that. Defensively. And then at the plate, I think with Volpe, I think that, this is the major leagues, man. They spend a lot of money on scouting and everything. They figured out his weaknesses and they're exploiting it. And he's failed to make the adjustment thus far, right? I think as soon as he makes that adjustment to the way they're pitching him, obviously they figured out that he struggles with the high heat, right? And then when he finally sits on the high heat and he's like, okay, I'm going to sit on this high fastball and catch up to it, they change it up on him and they start throwing breaking pitches. Like, these guys know what they're doing. Once he figures that out, and he said it himself one time, he said it's a timing issue. He's having an issue with his timing. And that's because he's getting caught in between, I think Volpe does have upside, though. I would say that. Like, obviously, this is really low, and he's batting 214. His on-base percentage is 287. His slugging is 384. He doesn't have the greatest numbers, but we've seen him play at a high level, so we know that it's there. I'm hoping usually when he comes back from the All-Star break, he seems like he's refreshed, maybe some time off, a reset, or whatever you want to call it, and he can pick up his numbers. But I'm not gonna give up on him completely just yet. Because like Jason said, man, who else are we going to throw out there? We need him to perform, right? Because who else are we going to put out there? Yorbe Vivas, you think he's going to do any better than that? Or Peraza or anything like. So we need Anthony Volpe. We need to unlock whatever it is that we need to unlock with him. We got to do it quick because we're going to need him.
Yeah. This take always makes me laugh, right? No doubt people say this because he don't got the arm strength, but what does playing second base have to do with the bat? Gleyber Torres is the only person I know that can go from a different position and all of a sudden he can't hit. So you think if Volpe goes to second base, it's all of a sudden going to unlock his hitting potential? Like, it's crazy. So what about you, Delulu? Biggest disappointment? You gonna add on to it or
take a guess? No, I mean I'm gonna add to it because there's nobody else. I mean, you know me. I was in. I mean, I was looking over my predictions at the beginning of the season, and I had Volpe as an all-star for this season. Like, that was my expectation. But I like that term of managing your expectations because I very quickly got humbled by Anthony Volpe, maybe a couple of weeks into the season. And again, I think we've spoken about all the obvious stuff, but I think sometimes we need to take a step back and really understand what his trajectory to this point of his career has been, you know. Getting like his journey getting to the MLB and all this stuff, you know, like he was in AAA, and I think Hector and Grace were talking about this on the Morning Brew or maybe last week. Like Anthony Volpe flew through the minor league system. He maybe had 3 weeks of AAA, and then he was the starting shortstop of the New York Yankees, being hailed the next Jeter. Like again, sometimes we kind of forget the human element of being a professional baseball player. Like, dude, I cannot even imagine. All that stuff aside, I am a very firm believer in when people show you who they are, you need to believe them. And when I'm saying this, I'm not saying that this is who Anthony Volpe is going to be for the rest of his career, but he's a kid who's figuring it out in MLB. I'm not going to say that I'm all out on Anthony Volpe, like all this hoopla about moving him to second base, like you said. Like it could happen in the future, you know, TBD. But I think right now, the project is what the project is. Like, this is our guy, and we got to stick beside him. Granted, he needs to be better. I mean, I know that interview today with Michael Kay and Alex Rodriguez. I think A-Rod hit the nail on the head. Like, why are you swinging and ending up on your knees when you're like this short little dude who should be spraying the baseball around the field? Like, I'll trade 3, 4, 5 home runs a year and solid defense and listen, I'm at the point now where I would be okay with him batting 250. Like, that's where I'm at. That's how thirsty I am for anything positive from this guy. But listen, I'm not gonna hammer on him when you guys have already done so consistently at this point. And I do too on a daily basis, but what do I gain from shitting on him some more? Like, I want this guy to be good. Him being good benefits us so freaking much, and we haven't even scratched the surface to what him being good is. Yeah, we've seen flashes. Now it's just a matter of consistency. Can we get there? I don't know, but what I do know is that this is the guy that we have to stick beside because there's nobody better. And this whole trade him thing, where's the value? How do you even trade him? So, yeah, I mean, Anthony Volpe, disappointment, but hopefully he's doing what Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer are doing. Hopefully, like, relaxing, talking to some shorties in New York, getting his mind right, getting ready to do what he needs to do. Bro, listen, we gotta have fun with it. Like, you're the shortstop of the New York Yankees. I know you're not performing, but maybe he needs that. Like, maybe he needs a little sauce, a little something. I don't know. He gets me tight though. Like, be a kid in the New York Yankees, bro. He's so boring. Sorry, I ranted a little.
I think he's
putting up a front. I think he puts up a front. I don't think he's boring. Because everybody mentions him. He's like one of the first names people mention when they're like, who's the biggest shit talker? Who's your favorite teammate? You always see him out on the sidelines at the NBA games. I think he does run New York low key. Like, they just probably got NDAs and whatever. But I don't think he's that quiet, boring guy. I really don't.
I can see that. It reminds me of that one clip where all the Yankees are playing MLB The Show in the background in the clubhouse, and they somebody was playing as Volpe and struck out, and they're like, Volpe, what do you think about that? He's just like, I don't care. Like, I just think like it could be a show as well. Everybody welcome Erika from That's Baseball. Erika is in the building. How you doing, Erika?
Much, man. Thank you for having me. There's a lot of great people on this stream. I didn't even want to come on because you guys already have great takes, and I didn't want to be repetitive. So I'm just here to hang out and, you know, just chime in when I can and just talk baseball because I'm bored now. There's no baseball today. I don't know what to do with myself. So I'm glad you guys are having this.
No, it's always good to get your perspective on things. You definitely have a great, unique perspective. We'll catch you up. What was your biggest takeaway from the first half of 2025?
That the Yankees just do the same crap every year, and it's very frustrating to watch because they're going to be good enough to make it into the playoffs, but they always just continue to have the same issues year over year, and I just feel like the common denominator at that point tends to be the leadership and the management, and you know, if they continue with the same BS mistakes, fundamentals, or lack of fundamentals, that it's just going to be the same ending as it has been for the last 15 years. So just, I'm hoping for the best. I think that they have a really good team. Like, I really do. I think what Cashman did in the offseason for the most part was solid. I just don't understand why it's just the same thing year over year, and the regression of Volpe, like you guys were saying, and just like the lack of third baseman. Like, I mean, how many years are we going to talk about this, and it's like beating a dead horse, and I'm sure you guys brought it up already, but yeah, it just feels like the same old shit, really. And I'm excited for the second half, just because it's baseball and anything can happen, but I won't be surprised, if it continues in the second half either. I'm just enjoying watching Aaron Judge be a New York Yankee, and making history and watching history every day. I don't think people realize that. I think as Yankee fans we do, but the caliber of ball player that we have on our team, homegrown, is incredible. So it's really cool.
Yeah. And that's what it feels like with Jason Dominguez. Jason Dominguez feels like he could be another homegrown, great talent if they, continue to develop him properly. So, Erika, standout player in the first half.
Can I say Aaron Judge? Am I allowed to?
Mm-hmm.
No
one else on here said it.
No one said him initially here.
We take him for
I mean,
granted,
I think
man.
the
He's
obvious
so
is
great.
Aaron Judge. But my runner-up would probably be Max Fried. He really stepped into the role after Cole went down, even though I do think that they knew Cole was injured, but whatever, and that's why they made that move. But he's holding it down. New York, he's the stopper. I don't think anybody expected the season that he's having right now. He's hit a couple bumps in the road. That happens, but hopefully he comes up big in the playoffs if we make it. But yeah, Max Fried would be my standout if it's not Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is the obvious.
Yeah, none of us picked Aaron Judge, so I guess we're all not Judge fans. So
We're desensitized from greatness already.
That's pretty much how it is. We're used
Did
to
you
it.
guys
When
say
he
Max
hits a-
Fried?
NFE did. No, NFE said Carlos Rodon. Someone said Fried. Jason?
No,
I think he said he was gonna say it was gonna be Fried, but he went with Rodon.
I went with Williams. I went with Devin Williams.
And if you
Jason
didn't want to be
161
Captain
split.
Obvious.
Yeah,
I mean,
Max Fried.
yeah. I mean, yeah, because we take Aaron Judge for granted, no doubt. This dude is the best player on the planet. Every time he hits a ball, I just expect that shit to go out at this point. I'm like more disappointed when it doesn't. When he takes balls to the baseball, I should say, to the fence and everything like that. I'm just like, yeah. So, yeah. I don't have the AO button on here. But yeah. All right. So before we get into the trade deadline stuff, give me a play that stands out, either a play or a moment that stands out for you guys in the first half. For me, Jason Dominguez walk-off, because I fucking called it. What about you guys? Delulu, we'll start with you.
Jason Dominguez 3 home run game, and where is that, Sacramento? That's when I knew. That's when I bought the dip on Jason Dominguez. I've been in on Jason Dominguez, but that right there showed me, yeah, that might be a guy for the New York Yankees in the not might. I genuinely believe, but bro, I've been yearning for this. I need the next homegrown Dominican Yankee star, and this is all I got now. This is all I have, so I'm holding on to it.
Yeah. Good moments. Dominguez has had some, and very impressive, especially considering he hasn't played full time. He's giving consistent numbers on an inconsistent basis. So very impressed. Oh, Jason Custodio, what about you? Do you have a play or a moment that stands out for the first half?
I mean, everybody knows what I'm gonna say, man. That double play by Cody Bellinger versus the Mets. I think that man, if he doesn't make that play, I don't even know where we'd be at right now. I think that play was so significant. It's crazy, right? But I think that play was just it was just the timing on it was crazy. And also Paul Goldschmidt made a great play too that day. I think that game was super important, and that play could have saved the season, like Delulu said, because we needed that badly. That's my play right there.
Erika, what about you? You have a moment?
Yes, give me 1 second. Okay. I mean, I'm sure there's moments from the beginning of the season that I'm forgetting about, but most recently that comeback against the Mariners, I think was huge. Where Stanton hit the 2-run bomb, then they were within 2. Austin Wells hit the game tying base hit. Like, I was gonna say the Cody Bellinger play because that made me feel something for the first time in like 9 brutal days of losses or whatever, however many days that stretch was. It was one of those plays where I was like, oh no, he trapped it, and then I saw it like the replay, and I was like, no way, like yeah, like you guys said, it's just season changing, really. But the comeback against the Mariners the other day was huge too. I was like yelling in my apartment because it just feels like the Yankees, once they're out or down, they're out, and to see them climb back in the way that they did, and with hits, not like singles here and there, not like the big home run. I know Stanton had it, but to put together an inning in the 9th where I think it was a single, I don't remember, and then Austin Wells got the hit. But that's what this lineup is capable of, and that's what I want to see more of, and I want to see that grit and that fight, and we got that in that game. So I would say that's a big standout for me. But again, it's still fresh in my mind. So
yeah, and up until that point, I believe we were 0-20 when trailing by 3 or more runs up to that point. So that was our first big comeback, led by LIN King. Might want to leave the building, Giancarlo Stanton, who we don't win without that man. You know what I'm saying? So all that talk, and you guys notice, on Twitter, for those that are on Twitter, ever since Giancarlo Stanton's been bowling, LI's been a little bit quiet on the go around of cut Stanton. I haven't seen much of it, and I know you know what I'm talking about.
How can you cut the most important player in October?
I've been told we don't need him. I've been told convert his salary to $80 million for 1 year and cut him. That's what I've been told. But anyways, Jason from 161, you got a moment of the year?
Yeah, that Cody
first half.
The Cody Bellinger double play. I'm echoing Jason's sentiments. They needed a play like that, either with a big hit or a big catch. At that point, they needed a big play to turn things around for them, and that was exactly that. And I love the Paul Goldschmidt double play follow up to that too. That was just a testament of the two guys. And going back to the point I made originally, did they bring in the right fits? Yeah, they brought in the right fits. Cody Bellinger's the right fit here, right? And he proved it with that play. And so that was the play for me right there.
Yeah. What about you, NFE? I know why you're smirking, but what about you?
Well, everybody said Cody Bellinger, so you know what? That robbery from Judge when we thought that ball was gone from Kyle Tucker, and him jumping up the way he did, that was a moment for me. I mean, I would have said the Cody Bellinger thing, but I knew a couple of you were probably going to say it, so I was just like, for me it was Judge just jumping up for that Robin Kyle Tucker of that home run. And in that game, he just made some great defensive plays to help the Yankees. It was that game that they won 11-0, and he was still out there just making great defensive plays. So Judge was like the man in that game. But that home run robbery, oh man, that was amazing. And to see that live was awesome.
Doesn't that go to show you how great this man is? Because dude, we're up by so much, and it's that little blooper that would have just went a couple of earned runs on Carlos Rodon's resume, but it wouldn't have, affected the game in the grand scheme of things. Aaron Judge is still out there making diving plays. It goes to show you that he's not just doing it for him; he's doing it for his teammates. Judge is him.
Can I add one thing, please? I was gonna say Judge had 2 huge home runs so far this half. The one off of Garrett Crochet, and the one versus the Blue Jays, right, to tie the game late. Even though we lost those games, the bullpen wasn't able to hold on to it. Those would have been my moments, but we ended up losing anyway. But I just wanted to point that out there because those were 2 freaking spectacular moments. Like, everybody says Judge isn't clutch, and we're going to forget those moments, obviously, because nothing came of it. But I just wanted to give him his flowers, man. Those are 2 big-time home runs there.
Yeah, a lot of good moments in the first half, and we're hoping that we're going to have some more moments in the second half. So play resumes on Friday. Guys, I would have said some guys are probably staying in Atlanta, but we probably know they're not. Going against the Braves and the Blue Jays. So the schedule gets a little bit tough to start off with. You know, Atlanta's not a team that you could take lightly, and then you kind of got to go out there against Toronto. Then the trade deadline approaches in a couple of weeks. Let's go ahead and do want versus think. So basically, I want to know what you guys want them to do, and then ultimately, what do you guys think they're going to do? Jason from 161, we'll start with you.
Want first?
Yeah, just doing both. Yeah.
I want them to trade for Eugenio Suarez because I think that bat makes the most sense and makes it easiest to put Jason Dominguez consistently at leadoff. Right? If you want to put Dominguez at leadoff, you need an equalizer in the middle of that lineup to be able to equalize and kind of lengthen that lineup, right, and make 7, 8, 9 better. I also want them to trade for Jake Bird from Rockies. We need a reliever with controllable years, right? Because if they do not bring back Devin Williams and Luke Weaver, we need dudes to replace them, right? And Kyle Finnegan doesn't do that. Ryan Helsley doesn't do that. They're all going to be free agents too. Neither does Andres Munoz, also going to be free agent. So guys with controllable years. And then I would like for them to trade for Willie Castro from the Twins. And maybe even Griffin Jacks, another reliever with controllable years. I like John Duran, but I think the price is going to be really high. So, but if you can get a guy like Bird and Griffin Jacks, two guys with controllable years, Willie Castro, the reason I bring him in because if you don't want to bat Jason Dominguez, let's say you want to bat him second, you bat Willie Castro leadoff, Dominguez second. That's where Soto was last year. And you bet Judge third, right? And you could put Cody fourth. You could put Suarez fifth, Jazz sixth, Stanton seventh. That lineup just got nasty, real quick. And Willie Castro is also could play utility. He could play around the field, around the infield. So he could give Volpe a day off, can give some of these other guys a day off too. So I like his speed and versatility. So those 4 moves right there will be the moves that I would like for them to make. The moves that I think they will make, I think Suarez is going to be the only guy that he's going to be on both lists. I think they're going to make Suarez, but I don't think they're going to bring a pitcher with him because the price is going to be too high. And I don't think the pitchers that are there are upgrades over what we have here, Schlittler or Luis Hill. So I don't see the point in bringing them over here.
What happened with the thing? Didn't he get hit? Didn't Suarez get hit?
He got hit in the hand and the pinky in his lead hand, but he came back the next inning and made a tremendous defensive play, so he was okay, thankfully. So
yeah.
I think they're going to get a guy like Ronnie Henriquez from the Marlins, a reliever, an underrated reliever with controllable years too. He's a young guy from Dominican Republic. He's very, very good. So I think they'll get him in a relief pitcher role. And I think they're probably going to do a multiplayer trade, maybe for IKF and David Bednar or something like that. Another utility and a kind of a lower key reliever. But I do think they're going to bring in 2 relievers, and they have to bring in 2 relievers. So that's my deadline.
Yeah. Delulu, what about you?
I want Suarez. I mean, that's probably at the top of everybody's wish list. I feel like I've been in this situation before, leading up to the trade deadline, where the Yankees are telling, or the media is pushing that we're gonna get somebody big like Suarez, and then we end up with like a third of what he is. So that's why I really do feel like we're gonna end up with Cabrian Hayes again. I wouldn't be mad at it. And I'm not going to specify on bullpen arms, but the reality of the matter is that I'm at a point now where I'm okay with them dumpster diving around because I trust Matt Blake enough at this point with what he's done with, like, listen, what that dude did with Michael Tonkin last year, I was like, this dude can fix anybody. So go ahead, dumpster dive. Genuinely, at this point, I'm really not worried about the bullpen because if there's one thing Brian Cashman has done well is get the right people into the bullpen working with Matt Blake, and it works. But right now, what we really need is that third baseman who's really going to change this lineup. And Eugenio Suarez, dude, we haven't had a power hitting right-handed third baseman since A-Rod, which is freaking nuts. So I just feel like that's really gonna make us a real legitimate contender in not just in the East, but in the entire American League. And yeah, man, Suarez, need that.
Yeah, I'm on the fence about Suarez for real. Like, I think, no doubt. I mean, defensively, he's okay. Very pull hitter. I don't think he plays well to our biggest part of the ballpark. It does add some, it does extend the lineup because you're obviously going to have him in the middle of the lineup, then be able to move guys down as well. I wouldn't be against it. It would just depend on what we'd have to give up. I saw him and Gallen are getting thrown out there a lot as being packaged together. I don't know. That's gonna cost you like a Spencer Jones, something like that. I don't know if I would necessarily do that, but bringing in third baseman to me is priority. Erica, what about you? What do you think what do you want them to do? What do you think they're going to do?
My bad.
You good?
What I want, I have the same answer as everybody else. I want Eugenio Suarez. For the same reason. It extends our lineup. It gives you the power right-handed bat that we need. I don't want to say so badly because obviously we have Judge and Stanton, but it would really help break up all the lefties. And yeah, that's who I want. Who I think they're gonna get. As everyone's saying, I think they're going to do Brian Hayes, or IKF is going to somehow find his way back over here. So I don't know. I just think that's going to be such a big splash if they could get Suarez. You really don't believe that he's the guy?
I didn't say I didn't think he's the guy. I don't think he plays well to our very poor hitter. I don't think he'll play well in Yankee Stadium, as far as, not because of that. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. There's going to be a lot more less home runs because it's going to our deepest part of the park.
They played us in Yankee Stadium this year, right?
Yeah.
He hit 3 home. Oh, the grand slam. I was like, did he hit the 3 home runs? Yeah, it's the grand slam that he hit there.
Like I said, I'm not against it. If they got him, it just depends on what we have to give up for him. Personally, it's going to be a bidding war. We all know how the trade deadline is going to be, especially if you wait to the day of the deadline. People are going to be expensive. That's why I would love for them to make a move like they did with last year with Jazz, where it was something that came out of nowhere weeks before the deadline. Like, we've heard the Yankees are on the phone with people now, but yeah, we'll see.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious what they're gonna, what our trade proposal would be, because you're obviously not going to dangle Lombard. He's untouchable. Now Spencer Jones is having a phenomenal AAA stint, and everyone wants to keep him. Last year they were ready to deal him, so it's interesting to just see those perspectives change. And like, outside of that, I don't know. And then for Suarez, he's short term, so it's like you don't want to give up too much. Whereas, and then there's that Yankee tax, and it just feels like, we'll dangle something really good in front of another team, and then their GM decides to go with like something else that's just like lower level prospects. Like, I never understand it, but yeah, I'm just curious what we have outside of Jones and Lombard that people are interested in. I guess Cam Schlittler is somebody that you can discuss. But for Suarez, like, I don't know, like that. I don't know if that'd be worth it. So I'm interested to see what Brian Cashman whips up.
Yeah.
Well,
a couple guys that.
Really quick too, sorry Ace, but that Yankee tax is really gonna hit too, because I'm pretty sure one of the teams that are in on Suarez are probably our biggest adversary for this year to win the American League, which is the Detroit Tigers. So that could be an issue. I don't want the Tigers to get better and get Suarez personally, so I want him.
Yeah. Cashman's gonna have to get creative, no doubt, because our farm system isn't. We're like 24th, I believe, when it comes to farm system. There are guys that are having good years, like Rock Reggio is probably not going to be here long. He'll probably go at the deadline. Jesus Rodriguez might go as well. There are guys but those are guys that I could see bringing in potential arms, not anything that's, maybe Roderick Arias might go as well, because we don't really have a spot for him. But like you were saying, Spencer Jones kind of seems like he's untouchable now too, but does that mean that you get rid of a guy like Trent Grisham and potentially see Spencer Jones up here as early as September call-ups? Because we know the Yankees fast-track guys through AAA.
Who wants Trent Grisham, though? Like, I don't know. That's not going to make a team like the Diamondbacks better. No, I'm saying that the Yankees would keep him, but I'm saying, like, other teams, how does that... that doesn't entice a team like the Diamondbacks. Like, they want to get young prospects, probably. They don't want a Trent Grisham. I don't know. Like... I just don't know what teams
the Mets
that are
take him right now. They need a center fielder.
Who would you take in return then?
I'm just throwing out names. There's a market for a guy like Trent Grisham.
But people that we need in return, I don't think that we're going to be able to dangle Trent Grisham for something.
I like Luis Angel Acuna, but that's going to take a lot more than a Trent Grisham. Luis Angel Acuna.
People saying Ben Rice, like you could try to see if you can move Ben Rice.
But that's why I said
You gonna make Eli mad, Erika?
I know. I'm not saying I want to, but I'm just saying like that's if you're looking at active roster guys, like he's probably got the highest trade value.
Agreed.
That we were willing to part ways with. Unfortunately,
you know they can always do three-way trades. You know, there's always ways to move players around. What Cashman's gonna do is it's gonna be interesting, man. He's gonna have to pull the rabbit out of his hat, so to speak, man.
So who has the most value on the active roster right now that we can actually get? Because we all know in order to bring something in, you have to give up something. Nothing, and then there is a Yankee tax. We all know that. We saw it a couple years ago with Corbin Burns that they were asking for top guys and they took shit from Baltimore. Like we saw that. So who has the most value on this active roster right now? Who do you guys think?
Ben Rice.
I think Ben Rice has the biggest upside.
We are hearing Ascara too.
I was saying allegedly Ascara has some
yeah.
value, but like I don't know if it's that much.
I think that's bullshit, to be honest, because personally that story of Ascara tracting value since last year doesn't make sense, because what was the whole kind of like sympathy story of him making it to the MLB if he was like, why would there be traction for a guy who was on his way out the league all of a sudden? I get now, because clearly the guy can play, has a nice swing, and can contribute to an MLB team. There's just no room for him here. But personally, I think that's all smoke and just bullshit. Personally, but
yeah, but then why would there be like smoke for like him out of all people? Like, if Ben Rice's name, I mean, Yankees have some catching prospects, but it just seems like I like Ascara. I really do. Every time I get to talk to him, I wish I could talk to him. Every time I get to talk about it, I say his plate discipline is great.
He's also
a lot of mistakes.
He's an elite pitch framer, so he'd be perfect for a team with a lot of young pitchers. We need an elite pitch framer to help them develop. So,
but with that, we've also seen a lot of catcher's interference this year from him as well.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but take the good with the bad.
If he's a guy that you could trade, they have Rafael Flores. That dude has a cannon for an arm in Double-A, so he's an easy replacement back to Austin Wells for Ascara. So if I can add a point to the scout, I heard from a scout that the Diamondbacks are looking to offload some outfielders. So Spencer Jones would likely not be a target for them in terms for Eugenio Suarez. They're looking at Yankees pitching more than they're looking for Spencer Jones. So, I mean, could be a Ben Hess, could be a Bryce Cunningham, it could be a combination of pitchers. It could be Brock Selvage, Kyle Carr. You could probably hand off a bunch of pitchers over there and even send a reliever. Even an Ascara, right? If you want a reliever to come back with Suarez. So that's what I heard from a scout recently, that they're looking at pitchers more than they're looking at Spencer Jones. And again, this is where I would offer Oswald Peraza and Roderick Arias. Here's a guy that could step in for Suarez tomorrow, Peraza, and here's Arias, the developmental player who can play the infield for a bunch of years as a switch hitter. After Peraza, you can move any way you want. So that I think would have more value to the Diamondbacks than Spencer Jones would. But it's easy to be attracted to Spencer Jones right now. The guy's just murdering the ball. So.
Are the Diamondbacks a playoff contender right now? Like, where are they even in the standings in the West?
They keep winning games even despite all the injuries that they've had. So Burns, DJ Puck, they keep winning games.
They're not even.
They're 5.5 out of that last 5.5 out of their last wild card spot.
Yeah, they're cooked, man.
Seen that they're selling though.
They're looking to get rid of some outfielders.
I saw that they're trying to get rid of Naylor as well, which is why it kind of sparked to me that maybe Spencer Jones can be a possibility, just because I know he can possibly play first base. But I agree. It's gonna be. I'm genuinely so like I'm kind of geeking over it, because it's gonna say a lot about kind of our future, whether or not they move Jones or not. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of smoke around Jones being moved. I hope not, but it almost feels like for the pieces that need to be moved this year for what we need, which is like Suarez, and again, that's keeping that pseudo Yankee tax in mind, but it feels like teams are going to be asking for Spencer Jones, especially with him killing in AAA.
Yeah, and there's only one bat in the world that I would trade Spencer Jones for, and that's Jose Ramirez. I wouldn't trade him for any other bat.
I would love that.
But GMs are going to come, the GMs are going to ask for the moon, right? And Cashman's going to offer the clouds. They're going to have to compromise somewhere in between. So where that price is going to be, I don't know. I have a feeling Cashman will probably wind up giving more volume over more quality for a guy like Suarez, for a rental player. It's Erika's point too. I don't think it's a good idea to trade him for rental players.
Yeah. No, see, those are like the big moves too, right? I've been on the fence about this. Jason, for once, when I've talked to you about this several times, dude. I want Ahmed Rosario, like a guy that the Yankees want, somebody that can play infield and outfield, that's cheap as well. He's hitting 273. Plays some solid defense. That's a move that you can plug a guy in and you're going to get some decent production, and that's what we need, especially when it comes to playoff time, because we know the offense seems to be the problem a lot of times during the playoffs when, all of a sudden everybody's up there striking out, when you just need a good contact guy that can keep that line moving at the bottom of the order. Like, I would love that, because I don't think Peraza is going to be much longer for this team, especially with no options. You kind of got to bring in that versatility that we haven't had since Cabrera. I missed the hell out of Oswaldo Cabrera. Not only because he's one of my favorite players, but one of my favorite players, he's that switch army knife that the Yankees are really missing. That's why when names like IKF are being thrown out there, I believe it, because that feels like the Yankee move. Let's bring in the guy that we're familiar with, that can put bat to ball, that can play anywhere on the infield. And guess what? Because we messed him up, he could play some outfield as well. So that seems to be like the depth move. NFE, what about you, man?
So much.
No, I would like it if it's a move and not the move. If it's the move, I'm going to be pissed. If it's the move, I'm going to be pissed.
That just tells me that they're not all in at that point, but whatever. Go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but at the same time too, like you do got to get some depth. You do got to get some depth, but you got to be aggressive, because when it comes to trade deadline, we know it. There's not a lot of sellers. There are more people that are at that midway point than anything else, and you're gonna have to be aggressive. And there is a Yankee tax. Some people don't say it, but there is. Teams pick up the phone. We want Spencer Jones and George Lombard Jr. Hang up on their asses. It's as simple as that. NFE. So what do you think, man? Want versus what do you want them to do, but what do you think they're ultimately gonna do?
What I think they're going to do, who knows? I'm not going to even take a guess as to what they're going to do, because, Cashman's not going to leak anything out. He holds everything to his chest as far as what he's thinking or what he wants to do. Like the rest of the group, I want Eugenio Suarez. Do I think it's going to happen? I mean, it's up in the air right now. And, I've been talking about Ahmed Rosario. I've been talking about the Yankees should call up the Nationals and see if what they want for Ahmed Rosario. They just fired their GM and their manager. So I will look into Ahmed Rosario. He'd be a hell of a lot cheaper than Eugenio Suarez, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. And then also look into I would look into Finnegan. I think Finnegan is only I think he'll be a rental as well. Both of those guys would be rentals, and I don't think you have to give up a whole lot for those guys. Jason brought up Jake Bird. That was another name that I've been talking about. If it's not Jake Bird, I would say there's another pitcher on the Rockies in that bullpen, Seth Halverson. He's another guy. He's solid out of that bullpen too. He's still in his pre-arb years right now. Mm-hmm. He'd be another one. So there's a few guys that I would want the Yankees to target, but what I think the Yankees are going to do, again, I don't know what they're going to do, because they pull off some move that none of us expect, and they go after a name that none of us heard of, and either they end up playing really well or they just end up being being a thumbs down, right? So I know those are the guys that I would want them to target. But what they ultimately do, it still remains to be seen. I mean, we never know what they're going to do at the trade deadline. So yeah. I'll leave it at that.
Custodio, what about you?
What I want, I think Eugenio Suarez is obviously the sexiest name out there. I think he'll make the biggest impact in the lineup. But we don't know what's going on. Maybe they want to package him with a Gallon or something like that. Because maybe teams are not drawing a lot of interest in him or whatever it is. But there's a lot of other players out there like Garcia from Kansas City Royals. I know we had some friction between Jazz and them, but I'm sure they could put that aside. If you could get a guy like that and Seth Lugo, if that's even possible, I think that's even a better route. There's a lot of options, right? But I think, like Erika said, the Yankee tax that's a real thing, especially when they know that we're desperate for a third baseman and we're desperate for pitching. So I think teams have leverage on us. I don't think you trade Spencer Jones for a 2-month rental, or anything like, or Lombard Jr., Cam Schlittler, possibly, but the way he pitched last time, he might be something, you know. So it's something to think about. I think Ben Rice is probably the biggest value we have right now in terms of major league ready right now. He can play catcher. And the analytics love him, man. The metrics, if you look at his baseball savant, is bright red. I'm sure teams are asking for him, and we really have nowhere to put him right now. So I think he's our biggest trade piece. Yeah, there's so many ways that Cashman could go with this, but you know what I want. I'd like to see Eugenio Suarez. I'd like to see David Bednar. I'd like to see guys like that on this team.
What about Class A?
Emmanuel Class A. Even that, you know, then we have 3 closers in here. But
well, you'll let 2 of them walk.
The Marlins have some players that could be that are enticing. You know, it's so hard to predict these trade things. That's why I don't like getting into it too much, because it's so difficult. You know, it could go anywhere. You don't know what these guys, what kind of conversations they're having behind the scenes, what teams are offering for these guys. But I think by all means necessary, you have to make sure that some of these players don't land on the Tigers, because I feel like the Tigers are going to make a big move this trade deadline. Their window is open, and who knows how long it's going to be open. They've never, I'm not going to say never, but they haven't been in this position in a long time. I think they're going to go for it, and they're going to go out there and get a big starting pitcher or something like that, or a big time bat, and really put the whole American League on notice, man.
I think the Red Sox and the Astros are going to do the same.
I think so too. Because
Possibly.
and that's what pissed me off. We had a chance to put the Red Sox asses away, and we fucked around and gave them life. So now they might end up making a move that we might ultimately regret. But when it comes to the Tigers too, a lot of the teams that are selling the Central, I doubt that they flip them. Like Kansas City and Guardians aren't gonna make the Tigers stronger. So we could possibly benefit from that as well. I'm gonna tell you this: the splash move. Could you imagine? Breaking news, you see the Yankees get Clase and Jose Ramirez. I'm giving up Spencer Jones. I'm giving up George Lombard Jr. Fuck it. Like that'd be a George Steinbrenner move right there.
Fuck it, just get me Paul Skeens at this point.
Bro, that was...
We'll give him the whole Double-A team, right?
That's what I said. I was like, get the state. You could take the stadium, everybody. Don't matter.
Worth it.
The staff,
Take
the staff with you.
We got 2 more years until we got 2 more years till we trade for Paul Skeens. You know Pittsburgh is gonna go ahead and wear out that arm with that shit organization. On a side note, did y'all see what Texas did with Nathan Eovaldi?
What they do?
They gave him that $100,000 bonus for making an All-Star team, even though he didn't do it.
Oh,
Really?
Well,
Classy.
so did the Phillies to
Yeah.
Oh, you
Sanchez, right?
Ranger
That's-
Suarez, I think it was.
Yeah. Those
'Cause
are
he got
top-notch
snubbed.
organizations. Unlike Pittsburgh, who robbed Roddy Tellez last year at $200,000 for only having, he would have got 4 more at bats. So
What
it
about
just goes to show
Soto?
you which
Poor
organizations
Soto,
are good.
man. Soto should have got his $100K too.
Oh,
Just joking.
boo-hoo.
Word, Uncle Stevie should have paid him.
Should have paid him.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so we're having a good conversation. We will be wrapping this up shortly. I do appreciate all you guys for popping in. Everybody in the chat, make sure you guys subscribe some after the stream. I will pin all their channels in the description below, so make sure you guys go check it out. All right, second half of the season. What is your biggest concern for the New York Yankees in the second half of the season? Delulu, start with you.
Anthony Volpe and Aaron Boone. This is the point of the year where Aaron Boone starts to become a problem. Not just yet, but September, October worries me a little bit. But it's Anthony Volpe, bro. Like, I think A-Rod said it best today, dude. This dude has been batting 150 in like his last 50 at-bats or so, and that's not sustainable as the shortstop of the New York Yankees. There's no other way to cut it. He needs to be better. A better Anthony Volpe will be a better New York Yankees. Pitchers are literally pitching around other players to get to Anthony Volpe now. That's where we're at. You can't do it. You can't do it. So Volpe, Easy answer, gotta be better. That is my biggest concern going into the second half. And then Aaron Boone doing Aaron Boone things after the 7th inning. That's it. The usual.
Yeah, that goes hand in hand with the bullpen that Eli is talking about. The reason I don't have like ultimate concerns for the bullpen because I know this bullpen's not going to look the same in another month. Like, I know the one thing that they will do is they will try their best to at least fix a bullpen. You know, they're going to bring in 3 guys, 2 of them are going to work. It's as simple as that. Matt Blake's going to sprinkle the dust on him like he always does. So I'm not overly concerned with that. Jason Custodio, what's your biggest concern second half of the season?
I'm gonna say the bullpen. I know you just said not the bullpen,
Okay.
but I'm gonna tell you right now, my stomach turns when we go to the bullpen. These days, starting pitchers are only giving you 5-6 innings if you're lucky, right? So the bullpen is gonna pitch the majority of the time every day, unlike a starting pitcher. And this bullpen just is not it, man. Me personally, this bullpen has to be addressed, and I don't think, hopefully Cashman could go and just pull 5 guys off the clearance rack and turn them into Gucci, right? with Matt Blake. But sometimes that doesn't always work. And sometimes they work for a little bit and then they fall off. That's my biggest concern, the bullpen. The bullpen is to me personally, I think is the most important, should be priority number 1 for them. That's my take.
And if what about you?
Well, what I said was my biggest concern. It's just pitching. And yes, it is the bullpen. I do believe that the Yankees will find those arms. Cashman always does a good job of that. But right now it's the bullpen. That is my biggest concern. Hopefully they get some of these guys coming back from the IL and then they get the arms that are necessary at deadline to help them succeed going into the second half of the season.
Okay. 161, what about you?
Whether Luis Hill and Ryan Yarbrough are going to go into long relief or not. Why do I say that? Because number one, Luis Hill's coming back from an injury. Every time you throw him back to the Wolves, I know they're going to build him as a starter, but he tends to get hurt when they throw him right to the starter role again. And Ryan Yarbrough, I'm wondering if both of them are going to be put in long relief or back into the rotation. We have the luxury right now of a guy like Cam Schlittler where you can ease Luis Hill back in, right? As one of the things that we know is that once you get closer to the playoffs, starters tend to go not as long in games. And long relief piece, Luis Hill from the righty side, Yarbrough from the lefty side, could be the difference between using 3 pitchers in the game or 8 pitchers in the game, right? Because if a starter gives him 3, and you're going to blow through the whole entire bullpen, that's the whole point of long relief. And we have 2 guys here who could be valuable weapons that they're deployed properly would make life easier for the bullpen. And I know I'm confident in their ability to add pieces too. I don't know what the pieces are, but the fact of the matter is the bullpen will get tired if the starters don't give length. That's the point of long relief. It serves as a bridge between the rotation and the short relief guys. So that's my concern. Will they be put in long relief or somehow slip back into the rotation and stuff or setback?
Yeah. Dude, I Yarbrough going long relief, definitely something I'm with, man. I'm not with Luis Hill going to the bullpen. I'm really not, man. His stuff is too electric and his command scares me. And spots where you got to come in big situations, you can't be walking the park. So you can find things as a starter that you can't really find as a reliever. Marcus Stroman's a name that can get thrown in that long relief role as well. What do you think about that? Like, I know he's kind of taking it back a little bit, but that's a guy that when this rotation's at full strength, put his ass in long relief.
I'm okay with that. Spots start for Marcus Stroman, but I'd rather have 3 or 4 innings of darts from Luis Hill, neutralizing a really good hitting team, than anybody else. So I'll take Luis Hill for 3 or 4 innings. Sign me up for that. Because that's enough
Will
for
Warren?
Yeah. Right.
Will Warren might be a good out the bullpen.
Warren too. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like with Clark Schmidt going out now, Warren isn't going to get moved from his role now in the rotation. I agree with you though, Ace. I don't like the idea of Heel for that same reason, the command issues and stuff like that. I know he was really good in his rehab start in Double-A, but that's also Double-A. I don't know. I honestly, Jason, I haven't even thought about those issues till you brought it up just now, but I don't even know if I want to say those are good problems to have. I'm actually more nervous about those things coming into kind of coming into fruition and what the result of those things are going to be.
Well, that's a fair concern. I we have potentially the luxury of being able to take advantage of this. I'm hoping that they're deployed in the right situations. I just worry about Luis Hill and his health, and Yarborough with his health too. And I think the best way to ease them back in would be long relief. If you want to do long relief as a step to back the rotation, I'm fine with that too. But I'd rather kind of ease them back into things and do it the smart way. That way you're protecting kind of the rotation and the short relief guys in the bullpen.
Yeah. So you're giving, okay, Reed, Rodon, Will Warren, and you're giving Cam that starter as of right now. So that leaves like Stroman, Yarborough, Hill for that one spot. It really just depends on who you trust the most. Like Luis Hill, I mean, there are reasons not to trust him. I understand him coming back from injury. We have to see how it works out.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I just that electricity, man, that he's got. I gotta give him that. I gotta give him that starting role, at least to start. Stroman, I'd put him down in long relief. Yarborough is very valuable. Another lefty to come out the bullpen as well, because we don't even know what's going on with Tim Hill. Like Tim Hill, I'd ship his ass out, but ultimately, we got to see. What, Jason?
No, I was gonna say Tim Hill he's been one of, and he hasn't been great, but he's been one of the only rocks out of the bullpen.
He's a workhorse.
That ERA is misleading though. How many times does he come in with a big spot and giving up the runs though?
Yeah, but it's Tim Hill. That's what I'm saying. Like you mentioned, like Matt Blake sprinkling fairy dust on these pitchers when they get here.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff starts wearing off after a while. And these guys, the bullpen's being abused, like Jason said. Man, these guys, they can only throw so many innings before they start getting tired. And it seems like this happens to us every year. As we get towards the September, the bullpen is worn out. They're done going into October.
How many teams can you folks mention that use long relief?
What was that, Jason?
How many teams can you guys think of that use long relief regularly? Hardly any of them.
You know what it is, man? I feel like if we going into long relief, that means something went terribly wrong.
Or something went totally good. Maybe we blowing a team out, that could happen too. But it just comes down to me, like the bullpen gets abused because Boone doesn't know how. I say this all the time. I really wish Matt Blake would handle the bullpen because I don't trust Boone when it comes to the bullpen. He either brings in like every other game, it's Hamilton and Hill, and I'm like, geez, man, like both of these guys coming in again, and like it obviously it's circumstance as well, but it's one of those things where it's gonna have to get cleaned up. It's going to have to get cleaned up in the second half, but you need to be able to rely on guys and starters because we've had the Yarboroughs out there, because we've had injuries, Clark Schmidt working his way back and then end up getting hurt again, where we've had to go into the bullpen a little early. So it's really a small list of guys that I trust in the circle of trust right now. Like Eli just put Weaver and Williams, Fernando Cruz when he came back, but I mean, before he got hurt, I trusted him, but he can't really, it didn't seem like he found it. Maybe he comes back with it. Loizaga, I don't trust him at all. Like, and he's given up the most home runs he's ever given up. But there's just a lot of guys I just don't see Loizaga on his roster after the All-Star break and stuff like that. It's really hard to trust these guys for real on how they're used. But and even Luke Weaver had a little bit of a rough patch, just getting back. Maybe to rush him back, but we'll see what happens. Erika, what's your biggest concern in the second half?
You guys brought up all the concerns that I was gonna say. But I'm glad we're all on the same page. So yeah, I was gonna. To me, the tail end of the rotation and obviously the bullpen. Fernando Cruz not being able to stay healthy really sucks because it would have really solidified the 7, 8, 9 inning at least. And then the cherry on top is that Loizaga can't figure it out because he was the guy that we were excited to get back to. We know that he's injury prone, but now he comes back and he's throwing meatballs down the pipe, and he's just like, all right, what happened to this guy? But I'll change it up a little bit. I'm concerned that the Yankees, if Dominguez goes on a small slump, that they start platooning him again, and I don't want to see that. He needs to start every game. I don't care if it's a lefty or a righty on the mound. He has the potential to be really good in this league, and I just hate the way that they're handling that. I understand it defensively because he is a liability out there late in games, but I just want to see him in the leadoff spot, and honestly, I want to see him starting against lefties because he needs to get those reps right-handed. But I can totally see that he goes into a small slump and they revert back to what they were doing at the beginning of the season. So I just want to see Dominguez play more consistently every day, really.
Eric, if I can ask you, if a team was willing to take Trent Grisham off our hands, would you move him to make it easier to clear a path for Dominguez, play more regularly?
If they're willing and depending on what we're getting back, yes. But unless you're going, if you're asking me that because of defensive reasons,
not necessarily, just to clear a path for Dominguez to get more at bats and more regular playing time. Because if you trade Grisham, you still have Bellinger out there. You still have a good enough defense to offset what Dominguez would be. And again, Dominguez hasn't made a single error in left field this year. Not one.
No. He's taken some weird routes, but he's looked good. But you have to play him for him to have that experience.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So would you be willing to move Grisham if somebody was willing to take him?
Yeah, I think so. If we can get something of value back, bullpen arm or whatever, I think that's more valuable because I think starting Dominguez every day, that's your future. Why are we still playing platooning him? Granted, they started starting him more consistently against righties and putting him in the leadoff spot, and we won the games that he was doing that. And then the games that, and I understand the structure of the lineup against a lefty is going to be different, but the games that we do switch it up, we lose, so it's just it's funny, the conspiracies and just how it played out. So
good point.
Yeah, there's no excuse to not give Dominguez everyday play anymore. That whole him not hitting from the right hand side is bullshit now because he's been playing very well. I just don't know why the Yankees ultimately make the decisions they do because they think that they're smarter than us. Like maybe they played Grisham a little bit more just to try to get his trade value up. I'd be okay with that, but ultimately I'm baffled why they make the decisions that they ultimately make. No comment. NFP, I'm gonna let you take this one. Look, Giancarlo Stanton's not going anywhere. I have the utmost faith, and he's been hot as of late. Giancarlo Stanton has been playing very well as of late. He's our best playoff player. He's not going anywhere. No way. No.
And I think Stan should lead off. No, just to piss him off. We should just put him in lead off. Drive him crazy.
Imagine. So, would you guys lead off Dominguez for the rest of the year? Is he our leadoff guy? Because look, as much as I give Eli shit,
his speed.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
As much as I give Eli shit, he was one of the first people to say we should lead off Jason Dominguez. He was saying that. Look, see, I'm giving you props, Eli. He was saying that at the beginning of the season that Dominguez should be our leadoff guy. What do you guys think? Just lock him in there no matter what?
I think it depends on who they get at the deadline.
True.
If you get a Suarez, then it makes it easier to put Dominguez at leadoff on a regular basis because 7, 8, 9 would be better. You want to take advantage of Dominguez's hot batter, his hot legs. If he's leadoff, then he has nobody to drive in. What's the point of having him at leadoff? You know what I mean? That sounds kind of funny.
Hey, yo.
But you know what I'm talking about. You want to take advantage of the hot bat or his speed.
Yeah.
Right? And if you have nobody to drive in at 7, 8, 9, then what's the point of having him at leadoff?
I think he makes the most sense at leadoff. If you look through the whole roster, he just makes the most sense.
He does.
Leadoff hitter.
He does, but also batting him behind Judge makes it much harder for teams to intentionally walk Judge.
Yeah, but I like Cody Bellinger behind
Bellinger's
Judge.
been protecting him pretty well.
Bellinger too. I like Bellinger and Dominguez behind Judge. That's a better.
But I hear what you're saying, Jason, and that's the problem with the way the lack of depth in the roster or in the lineup because there is no turnover. I get it, you lead off hitter and everything, but there has to be something because the lineup at some point turns over, right? So that ninth guy is like a leadoff or the eighth guy going into Judge. batting second or third, whatever he is. So I mean, I sometimes I understand why Boone does what he does. You can't just leave the bottom half just empty,
Well, yeah.
you know.
And you got to give these other guys at bats. Brent Bryce needs at bats. These other guys need at bats too to continue to play. But I think Suarez is the guy that makes it easier to bat Dominguez at leadoff every day.
Yeah.
For that reason, I think he's the guy to get at the deadline. Then you could have just hell 1 through 6 in that lineup of pitchers.
Yeah.
Absolute hell.
I think
Yeah.
you know, we didn't mention it a lot. My bad, I mean, but Wells is such an important part of this lineup too. When he's hitting, man, the lineup is so much better.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully he has a good second half.
I was hoping you weren't going to mention it because that was going to be the segment to the next one of a guy that needs to step up in the second half more. But yeah, you got that one. But now I like what Stephen B said though. Dominguez leading off, Judge, Bellinger, and Stanton. I think that's a good 1 through 4. Jazz behind Stanton, Goldschmidt behind him, Wells behind him, and then Volpe and so on and so forth. Because like you said, at some point in time the lineup is going to turn over. Volpe needs to go to that 9 spot already, and just keep him there. Whatever offense you get from him is found money at the end of the day because he's not really producing much. He's the big hole in the lineup. But Austin Wells was one of those too, which does lead us to the last and final segment. Besides Volpe, guys, because we have been attacking Volpe a lot. For me, the person that I would love to see step up exponentially in the second half is Austin Wells. We've seen Austin Wells get off to a slow start, which it seems like he does every year. But as of late, the bat has been getting going. So I think like Jason from Custodio just said, the lineup looks better when he's getting it going, and he has that pop, which also saves him. Me personally, I love just the pop, the power hitting catcher as well. So he's a guy and how he handles the pitching staff as well. He's a guy that I think needs to have a great second half in order for the Yankees to really make the playoffs and go the distance. Delulu, what about you?
I mean, I'm gonna go with Dominguez. I love him batting from the left side. I want to see him better from the right side. And again, like Erika said earlier, the only way that's going to happen is by playing him more. So I think he stepped up a lot already within his role and, kind of platooning. Like, I know it has to be hard playing one day or playing a couple days and then being benched. But I want to see him step up from the right side, I think that helps the lineup up a ton if he's a threat hitting from the right side, but Jason Dominguez.
Okay. Custodio, what about you?
I'm gonna go with Jonathan Loaisiga, man. I think Loaisiga, if he's pitching the way we expect him to pitch, the bullpen looks way better, right? I don't know if he's hurt and he just doesn't want to say anything because he's been hurt for the last 3 years in a row. I'm not sure what's going on with him, but something is not right with him, and we need him to step it up big time right now. Because when he's good, he's filthy. He's one of the best. We know that. Coming into the season, that's why I wasn't as worried about the bullpen because you had guys like Devin Williams, Luke Weaver, Jonathan Loaisiga, who we were expecting to be a healthy Jonathan Loaisiga. Yeah, I think he's a big part of this bullpen. He needs to figure it out.
Okay. NFP, what about you?
I'm gonna go with a bullpen guy because I would have said Wells, but I'm gonna go with another bullpen guy.
You can still say Wells.
I could say Wells, but I want to say somebody different. It's gonna be a bullpen guy, and that guy's name is Mark Leiter Jr.
It's a good one because they use him all the time.
Yeah, and I think that's a problem because I think he gets overused. That's what happened to him when he was with the Cubs and when the Yankees had traded for him. The guy was pretty worn out. So but he did show some good signs, right, in the postseason. He showed some signs of life, and I was like, okay, this guy could pitch. This season he's shown in a few games that he's able to come through, but I want to see more of that consistency. Unfortunately, he's hurt right now, and I think he's been, he was pitching hurt, but hopefully he can turn it around in the second half of the season. He can get healthy and get going.
When does he due back? Anybody know?
I think he was put on the 15-day IL, if I'm not mistaken.
It wasn't too long because it was a fracture.
Yeah. I'm trying to look him up right now.
But to have him play on that is just, once again, Yankee medical staff deserves a gold star, because the things that we do, you just never see that shit. Rizzo playing with concussion, guy playing on a fracture. Like Jason Custodio said, he hurt his leg. If he would have been a Yankee, they'd still be throwing you out there, man. Every day.
I have a conspiracy, and it just came to me. Cashman purposely has our medical staff be trash so that it could keep on buying him years, because he can use that excuse for whenever we don't get the World Series. Like, oh well, the injuries, can't control those.
Yeah.
Run it back.
I personally think Cashman's going to retire soon.
We're going to run him out of this town.
No, he's going to go out the way he wants to. And yeah, man, it's a love-hate relationship with the front office when it comes to me, man. At the end of the day, like these guys are not going nowhere, so we got to have their back and hope that they can figure it out, because they're really not, man.
Yeah, well, Cashman's contract is up after 2026, so I mean, he could move to a different role with the Yankees and not necessarily serve GM.
Sure.
But,
yeah, it's just time for a fresh start. Like, for real. We've been going through this shit for too long. 16 years. What we all doing 16 years ago? Like, this shit is crazy. Like, we need a fresh start. 161. About you, man? Who needs to step up exponentially in the second half for you?
I'm going with LI's boy, Stanton. If we don't get Suarez, we need that righty power bat somewhere. So, LI, that one's for you, baby.
Because best believe if he doesn't, we're gonna be on Twitter hearing about that shit. I told you guys we should have cut him. Like, and then when he hits a home run in the playoffs, Elijah's gonna be like, okay, okay. So, Erika, what about you?
I know you said don't use him, but Anthony Volpe, man. Anthony Volpe, dude. Like, I'm not trying. You don't got to be the guy that you were sold to us as, right? You don't have to be that Cinderella story. I said let him just be a 250 guy with a solid, like, with a gold glove. But he can't even do that. But I'm just glad that they're putting him down in the lineup. Let him just hide in the 8 or 9 hole, really. The moment's still going to continue to find him, like you guys said. It just, the pitchers, they're pitching around the lineup just to get to him. But yeah, just step up defensively, man. Jazz and him up the middle had glimpses of being really special, and he just seems to be in his head. The games against the Cubs, those are inexcusable, just lackluster play. Like, it just, you got to make those plays. And shout out to Goldschmidt being at first and helping him, not have as many errors, because he's been a freaking vacuum over there. So Anthony Volpe, just be a 240 guy, lay down some bunts. I hope you're working on some bunts, because his speed can kill. He's the reason that they were able to win that walk-off with the Judge, that shallow pop-up. So if he gets on the base, man, he could really be a problem, and we've been saying it for years, and he's still not doing it. Work some walks, like, lay down a bunt, get creative with it. So yeah, Anthony Volpe.
Yeah, that was a hell of a slide too. Like,
yeah, it was crazy.
In real time, like on the call. And if you called that game, right?
I didn't call that game, but I watched it. I had some stuff going on in that game.
Yeah, in real time, it was hard because the throw definitely beat him, and he saved us. Like, I'm going to agree. I mean, Erika definitely, like, you got to do the little things to make you feel like a ball player. Lay down a bunt, sacrifice fly, go the other way, go from first to third. You know what I'm saying? You getting high fives makes you feel good again. And then, you never know. Then you might come up with a big hit because the moment, like you said, does seem to always find Anthony Volpe. And for the most part, he has failed. But, he's our shortstop. There's no other option. We have no choice until somebody else replaces him to believe in this kid. And I see that the tools are there. Go ahead.
It's not this year because he has a bobblehead day. So just guys, he's July 25th, so he ain't going nowhere.
Volpe also sells way too many jerseys, and he's bringing in attendance. Man, you got to see these little girls at Yankee games now. It's concerning, genuinely. Like, I think it's bad for the brand to sit them.
Yeah, because you're there a lot, so you see it. Yeah,
brother, it's very annoying.
Delulu, you know you got that number 11 jersey there, man.
It's a Gary Sheffield jersey.
Yeah, for Brett Gardner.
It's a Gary Sheffield jersey. Shout out Brett Gardner too. That's my guy.
Yeah.
Chuck Knobloch.
How much? Knobloch. How much vitriol does you're there, Delulu? You're there. How much vitriol does he get from every time? Like it's bad, isn't it?
It's
Eric. You've been to a couple games too, right?
During roll call, there's like a select few of people. Like after like Volpe sucks, Volpe, and then like a group of them are like sucks. Like if you're at the bleachers, like you can't hear it all. It's not enough people where you can hear it over the stadium, but they hate him. They hate him. Like there's this one guy who sits there who says if he wasn't local and didn't have an Italian last name, he'd be rotting in AA or something like that. Again,
Makes me so sad because I purposely went to his first game because I thought that he was going to pan out to be like this great player, and I was never expecting him to be Derek Jeter like all these other people, but he's just fell flat on his face. Like it's just not good, but we need him to do good, so that's why I chose him. Do I have faith that it's going to happen? I don't know, but I need him to step up just slightly.
Man's had us filing into opening day, calling it Volpening Day. Never forget. I was there. I was part. Listen, I was a prisoner of the moment too. Yeah, I remember he started off that season. I think it was last season. He started the season hitting like 400 in like the first 10 games, and I was here on live going like, yeah, that's my MVP. Yeah, listen.
I was saying the same thing. Don't be embarrassed. That was me. I was like, he should be in the leadoff. I was like, he's hitting the ball the other way. Like this is just great signs. And then I don't know what happened. And then he hit that grand slam in the World Series, and they're like, yeah, that's gonna carry over. Like,
that was me. I thought that was the moment. I thought that was the moment that unlocked him. No lie, because and it's the same thing with like you could say the same thing with Aaron Judge. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no bigger moment than you dropping that ball. There's no bigger moment than you hitting that grand slam. Sometimes those moments define you. Like, and I thought that moment of him hitting the grand slam unlocked him. I was on record. I thought he was gonna have a great year. I'm not saying he was gonna be all-star, but I'm eating crow. I'm eating shit for that because he's making me look bad out here. Jason, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, do you think that Volpe you think he's where Gallo and Aaron Hicks was in terms of how the fan base feels?
He's getting there. I think he's getting there.
Honestly, I personally think he might be there just because of the reaction of his father at Citi Field. Like, this is definitely a conversation they're having behind closed doors. And for the frustration, again, I'm not a parent. I can imagine though. Like, I don't think what he did was wrong or anything like that. But for you to understand the environment that you're in, your kid is a professional baseball player. He's under the court of judgment of everybody who's in attendance and is a baseball fan. So, like, the fact that he got out of character like that at Citi Field of all places, I don't know. I feel like he's definitely seeing all this stuff and he's reading all this stuff, and I'm sure it has a little bit to have to do with why he's pressing on those like little things that he should be doing and he doesn't do, or not that he doesn't do, but that he kind of falls short on.
Yeah, but you got to know too. If you're his dad, you got to know, dude. There's cameras everywhere. You're just adding to that pressure. Like Yankee fans and the Yankee media are brutal. They're like vampires. They're gonna feed off that shit for real, for real. So, but as far as what Jason was saying, do I think he's there? I think he's getting there, and I think it's in large part. A lot of it's not his own fault. Well, the performance is stuff that he can control. That's pretty much the only thing that he can control. But a lot of it is the Yankee organization, because we've all seen the video of how Brian Cashman reacted. When they were talking about Anthony Volpe, he was like disgusted. He was like spitting on him, like, how dare you say this type of stuff? And then obviously some of the fans are going to be like, all the players that we could have had because we didn't have him. Those are all valid arguments that add on to it and add to the pressure of him and why he's not, if he doesn't pan out, it's going to look bad.
I mean, I think it's also like how much I've never seen the Yankees have such a long leash for, we can still call Anthony Volpe a prospect, basically, but I've never seen such a long leash on a position player.
I wish they had that with Dominguez.
But you get what I'm saying, right? Like, and sometimes I almost ask myself the question, like, what if the roles were reversed? Like, let's say really quick, like if it wasn't Anthony Volpe going through all these struggles and it was Oswald Peraza, like, at the helm at shortstop, like, would he still be out there? Would he
No.
not be held accountable at some point? Again, it's thoughts that have come to my mind. Like I see what they do with young guys at third base. I mean, they've plug and played a bunch of guys last year at third base before Jazz was there, and I saw guys. You try different things, but again, sometimes I also take that step back and look at it from a front office perspective and Brian Cashman and stuff like that. Like Anthony Volpe, they went on record multiple times putting all their chips in on Volpe. So they really have to live and die by it, and we have to face the repercussions of what that is, and what that is still TBD. I'm hopeful though. I'm just not buying any more Anthony Volpe stock moving forward. Personally,
I thought he was gonna say you're not buying any more Anthony Volpe jerseys.
That's what I thought he was gonna say too.
Never bought it.
For Bobblehead Day, right? He gonna
Absolutely
be first in line
not
for Bobblehead Day.
I'm good. I'll pass.
But it's also a perception thing. It's also on us, the fans, too, because like the other day I seen Dominguez, sprinting back full speed for a ball that was just over his head. Everybody's giving him shit for it. Same thing happened to Judge. Everybody's like, it happens. It's okay, Cap. I'm like, bro, where's the equality on that shit? Crazy.
I mean, one of those guys hits like 60 bombs a year, bro.
We just haven't seen it from Dominguez yet. We don't know that he can't do it. If he gets full time, maybe he might do it. Maybe he'll be the next. Captain when Judge retires. Who knows? But look, guys, I do appreciate you guys. Great panel, great conversation. We did hit the 2-hour mark. You guys are incredible. A bunch of great content creators that I've had the privilege to work with you guys several times. You guys are truly amazing. Let's go ahead and go down the line and tell them where they can find you at. Delulu, tell them where they can find you at. What you got going on?
Delulu Yankee fan on all platforms except Twitter, where it's a delusional Yankee fan. I call games, doing vlogging, stadium, going live from inside of the stadium, all that good stuff. Stay tuned. We cooking, we growing.
Speaking of cooking, I'm waiting for you to do that segment, the Delulu's Dish, where you go try all the Yankee foods and shit like that.
We working.
Oh, okay. Because we got a couple steak aficionados up here. By the way, how do you guys take y'all steak before we get out of here? Delulu, Erika, Jason?
Medium for me.
Medium rare or well?
Wait, how are you gonna go medium rare or well?
That's way the other side.
That's like
what the hell?
It's a difference, right? NFE.
So you don't do medium?
I do
So
medium well.
What? You go from medium rare to medium well. You skip over medium.
Oh yeah, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's a weird window.
That's why we give him shit, NFE. We got to get this guy some good steak.
NFE eats raw steaks.
What is wrong with medium rare? What is wrong with medium rare? What is wrong with medium rare? What's
medium
wrong
rare
with
is the way you're supposed to.
No, medium rare is the
steak.
way to go. Yeah, that's the cut. That's how you're supposed to have it.
I just can't do that.
If you say well done, it's like you're eating one of those guitar straps that's in the back of Erika.
I had a buddy. We went to an expensive steakhouse in Vegas, and we all got our steaks, and it was like medium rare, medium, and he goes, "Yeah, well done." And can I get a A1 sauce? And I was like, "Oh,
jeez,
like you just spent this much for that."
I would get up and walk away.
Send them to the Hills tables to that.
That's embarrassing. All right, so the steak master himself, Jason Custodio, tell him where they can find you at. What you got going on, man?
You can find me at on YouTube, Jason Custodio 2024. And I just, usually I go on late nights and after the games I do like a post game recap. Sometimes if I have time, if I'm not working, I go on during the day. I just go on and talk about the Yankees, talk about baseball, what's going on, and that's pretty much it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if he,
you can find me on YouTube. youtube.com/thestrikezone1. I do a lot of pre-games. I do a lot of play-by-plays, pre-games. We talk about food. And Custodio, by the way, started the steak war, not me. Just wanted to throw that out there. And you can find me on Twitter at the Strike Zone, the number 4. So you can find me on Twitter. I'm not really on any of the other social media outlets, but that's where I be. And I am actually doing a live stream tomorrow, grading the Yankees. So I got a few of you guys coming on with me. And we got 2 more folks coming on. So it should be a fun time. I'll get that all set up and send you fellas the link here. So,
Nice.
Can't wait to see everybody's grades. And guess what? you all get to grade the hitting coach, pitching coach, and Aaron Boone. So that should get you excited.
Spoiler alert, F. Yeah, I deliberately stayed away from the grades. I know we're doing that tomorrow, but yeah, F for Boone. I'm just putting that out there. Failure.
All right, cool.
Or C for clown. So,
right,
Jason
cool.
for 161. What about you? Tell them where they can find you at. What you got going on?
161 River Ave on YouTube and TikTok, and Bronx Bomber 447 on Twitter. That's where you can find
Okay. And I know, and Jason does a lot of the post game stuff too. Does an amazing job over there. So make sure you guys go check him out. And we're gonna end things off with the lovely Erika. Tell them where they can find you at or what you got going on.
Well, I would say you can find me at That's Baseball, Erika, but content creating is very hard. Shout out to you guys. It takes so much consistency and just so much time management. So I have been slacking. I kind of just float around. You catch me on Hector's stream most of the time on Uptown Sports, but on Twitter, Walls of Jerica. You know, I still have a lot to say about the Yankees on there, unless I take a short little break because sometimes the fans, LI, we love you, but it takes like yours that I just got to close the app. So, but yeah, Walls of Jerica.
Yeah. And as far as me, you know, yours truly, the Ace. You can find me here at the Ace Avenue for your sports, movies, and more. If you're looking for some more content, I just put out a bunch about Superman, so make sure you guys go check it out. I definitely recommend that movie. I appreciate all of you guys for coming on. I'll be back with the live play-by-play on Friday. Yankees versus the Braves, and hopefully this New York Yankee team can get things started in the right direction on the road to 28, because the chase for 28 continues. Appreciate you guys. Hit that like and subscribe for your sports, movies, and more. As always, thank you for tuning into the Ace Avenue. I'm yours truly, the Ace, with Delulu, Jason Custodio, NFE from the Strike Zone, Jason from 161, and Erika from That's Baseball. Erika, we're out of here. Adios.
Go Stanton.
Peace, everybody.